So Seconds Out, delighted to be joined by light heavyweight contender Anthony Yarde. Anthony, it's been a tough year for you so far, no doubt. Tell us how you're getting on now.
Um, just taking it how it is, taking it day by day, doing what needs to be done, trying to enjoy myself. Um, yeah, man, just taking it as a home.
I was speaking to Tunde last week, and
Yeah,
he talked about how proud he was of you because it can't be easy losing anyone close to you, but to lose two people close to you in such close proximity, your father and your grandmother, to the COVID-19 pandemic must have been devastating. And yet you've now come out the other side to an extent and you're spreading positivity to other people out there. How tough has that been for you?
Um, well, the tragedies that happen in my family, um, they're self-explanatory. But in terms of positivity, I just feel like if you're negative in this world, then you're clearly doing something wrong. Um, there's a lot that's going on right now that you're seeing with just bad people, and you're seeing something with good people. And it's just like I look at a certain situation, I'm like, I just don't understand. Like some people, they use excuses and say, "You don't know what happened in my life. Things happen in my life that caused me to be bitter, and or caused me to be evil and do bad things." It's just excuses. It's excuses, and it's an easy way out. I only get a good feeling from spreading positivity. Yesterday, I was playing basketball with some kids. We started betting each other, made it competitive. And that for me, that's what makes me happy, spreading that kind of love and positivity. And they were happy just to be playing basketball with me. I was acting like a normal person, but to them, I wasn't a normal person. You know what I'm saying? But I'm explaining to them I am. I come from the same areas, and I was playing in the park just the same way they was. There's no difference. It's just that you need to adopt a mindset where you can make something of your life instead of. And I pointed to the boys across the park, and I said I knew all of them as well. Some of them were younger than me, some of them are older than me, and some of them went on different paths. And then now look at them; their groups down to the number of like 10, and there used to be about 40 of them. And I said, go and ask them what the rest of their friends are. Um, and obviously, I pointed out some other good people as well, people that I get along with, and said, look, this person's a lawyer, this person's an accountant. I said it's all about the mindset.
Given everything that you have been through, how frustrating was it for you when you saw groups of people out there flouting some of the COVID-19 restrictions that were put in place?
Mixed emotions really, because I'm again everybody in this world is a hypocrite. Everybody, every single person in this world is a hypocrite. Even though it's not a nice word, but I was trying not to be too judgmental. Um, even some of my friends that were at each other's houses, um, meeting up for no reason, just say, "Oh, let's go for a walk." And this is around the time it happened, but I always see it like this: no one's perfect, and everyone deals with things differently. And it's just human nature. If something hasn't affected you personally, so 9 times out of 10, you don't really pay as much attention to it. There's people talk about bad things that happen over here and in America. If you think of other countries, things like this happen daily. Worse things happen daily. If you think of the wars that happen between different countries where innocent people are getting hurt, tragedies happen daily. We just don't hear about it. So it's like there's balance in the world. There's very good, and then again there's very bad. And I try not to judge, man, because I was one of the people saying, okay, I'm doing quarantine. I didn't leave my house. I took it very seriously, but I was saying it's probably another hoax. There's some conspiracy behind it. I don't know. And then when they hit home and they come close to the family, I was like, okay, this is a bit different. I'm thinking differently about it now. But then again, there were still people in my family. Like one of my cousins was still saying there's nothing named COVID-19. He was trying to give some other conspiracy theories, but at the same time, no one really knows because there's so much going around. No one really knows what it is.
On a slightly more positive note, before we move on to other subjects, Just tell us a
Yes.
little, if you don't mind, about your father and your grandmother, and specifically what influence they had on your life.
That's just family business for me. I like to keep my family business private. Even when I first put out I put out the message. I put on my Instagram saying what happened, and that the only reason I put out what happened was because where you spread your downfalls or your tragedies, you might inspire somebody else. There's a lot of people around the world that was going through the same thing. And by me mentioning it and then showing that I can still be strong, still get through life, still gonna box, I'm still gonna spread positivity, I'm still gonna be driven and all them kind of things and try and live my life and be happy, you might inspire someone else to do the same thing. Someone else that it might hurt or it might affect way worse than it affected you. You might inspire them to dig deep and say, you know what, it's life. Human beings are borrowed to us. It's a life cycle. Some people have way worse deaths. There's people that get shot. There's people that actually get murdered, as we're seeing recently. And there's worse ways life can happen. So I just try to say, stay positive, man.
Moving on to boxing, obviously you ended the year, well, I was going to say you ended the year coming very close to winning a world title, but obviously you have fought since then. You were going
Yes.
to fight Lyndon Arthur initially in April, then it got moved to July, and now the show that's headlined by Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce, they're looking for a new date sometime in the autumn. Do you know if you are still going to be on that show, and if so, if it will still be the Lyndon Arthur fight?
Most definitely. That's a fact. It's the show. It's what's meant to happen. And the only thing is, again, there's still speculation about if there's going to be a crowd. There's loads of things. I want a crowd there. That's me personally. That's my preference because that's just what boxing is about. There's even football fans saying that how they gonna have the same experience with football. Football players are saying the same thing. The same thing for boxers. With boxing, it's a bit different. It's a bit more intimate. Um, I don't know how it would feel having a fight with no crowd. It would just feel like I'm sparring or like however many years ago when I was in a park tussling. So I don't know, man. I just feel like I don't know how it will feel. But in the meantime, I would like to stay active. Again, with the Kovalev fight, what played a major part in it was experience. I've been saying this from day one. I had 12 amateur fights. Even though I climbed in the professional ranks very quickly, and again I made a good account of myself in the world title fight. The difference was experience, and I need to get as much experience as I can. So within this pandemic time, if it is behind closed doors, I will be having fights where I can gain some sort of experience, whether that's top 15, top 20. I want to have some fights that give me some experience. Big fights to get someone like Lyndon Arthur, who's undefeated, which is an attraction in the UK. I would want a crowd there, but again, it depends on what happens behind closed doors of business and what gets agreed.
And what about kind of longer term goals? Is it waiting to see how the WBO situation plays itself out?
Well, there's the WBO ain't the only belt. It's not the only world title belt. I've got I like the WBO. They've treated me very well. Got a good relationship with some of the people that control the WBO. And again, they've given me opportunity. I became mandatory challenger, so Kovalev had to fight me, and I wanted to fight him, and I want to work my way up in the rankings globally. Every belt. I want to work my way up for every single belt. That's WBO, that's WBA, that's WBC, that's IBF, and if there's any others, WBA, and I just want to climb the ranks, man. I want to again achieve the most I can as a boxer, and hopefully go down as one of the best. Considering the experience I had, the chances I took, and there's moments that can be made in boxing.
Who do you consider to be the number one light heavyweight in the world right now? If we take Canelo out of the equation, because everyone expects him to move back down to super middleweight,
Yes.
Kovalev's still there, of course. You've got Beterbiev with 2 belts. Dmitry Bivol is another belt holder. Who do you consider the best of the crop?
Um,
Apart from yourself, obviously.
Yeah, I wouldn't put myself in there. The reason why I wouldn't put myself in there is because, again, I'm a very honest person and I'm a realistic person. Again, I showed I'm at that level, but I showed I'm not the best at that level yet. I showed that I can be the best at that level, with a little bit more experience. But the person right now, I'll say that is the best at the light heavyweight division, of her current performances, other than Canelo. Again, I would have said Kovalev. The reason I would have said Kovalev was even with the Canelo fight that he had against Canelo, he was winning. Um, and then again, he got caught. And the reason, again, I thought he was going to get knocked out earlier in that fight because he went from having a tough fight with me and fighting Canelo 8 weeks later.
Yeah.
And people know in boxing, you need a solid 8 week training camp. And that's impossible coming off of a fight with me. Again, he done the interview afterwards saying he still had headaches. Again, he had to make the weight again, in quick succession or whatever you want to call it. That would have played a toll on his body, and he had a rehydration clause. So I thought he was going to get knocked out a lot earlier, if I'm being honest. Canelo is a world-class fighter, knows what he's doing, very, very experienced. So again, when I saw that Kovalev was winning the fight on points before he got knocked out, I was very, very surprised.
And you alluded to this earlier, but we've obviously seen a lot of protests and what are being called counter-protests here in the UK, all stemming from the unlawful killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis not too long ago, and then responses around the world from the Black Lives Matter movement, or Matters rather movement, about injustices between the races that still exist to this day. What's your kind of view on all of that, and have you been participating in any way?
I've definitely been participating. Everyone saw what happened, and again, I feel like this is how I see it, and try and understand what I mean here. The excuse for naive, ignorant, naive, ignorant, and racist people. The excuse for these people is the catchphrase "Black Lives Matter." It's just an excuse. If you look at the deeper situation, you understand what it's all about. If you want to take away Black Lives Matter, if you want to say Black Lives Matter too, or Black Lives Matter as well, it's the same kind of phrase, because what I believe it means, and the awareness is risen, is that for years there's been a hidden form of racism in society. There's been a hidden form of racism amongst us as citizens. There's been a hidden form of racism systematically. And people just, some people turn a blind eye to it. Some black people have learned to just live with it. Some black people, are angry about it. Some white people are oblivious to it. Some white people know about it. Again, there's other races in this world as well. And there's other races who are also racist to other races that are not theirs. It's just a problem that's going on in the world. And that, I believe, is magnified by the systematic racism. It's what's the word? It's conditioning. And that's from things we see on TV. When you look on the TV, every time you see an advert for poverty, it's young black African kids. They're showing the worst parts of Africa. Or they show like Somalia, it's also Africa. When you turn on the news, they're showing boys running down the street with knives in their hand. They always show the black boy. When they, when you see anything, when you turn on the TV and watch the programs of the police programs when they're arresting people, 9 times out of 10, the scariest people in the program are the black people. And that is called systematic racism. That's called conditioning of racism. And then you can't blame the average white person or even the average black person who lives out in the suburbs, who has no connection to the normal black people or the good black people. They will make judgment. It's human nature. If I lived in Africa and all they showed in the media was white people, doing crazy things, I will be scared of white people. I would say, well, there must be something going on. it's the media that portrays this onto the people, and then people make their own assumptions. And then there's some people who still live back in slavery times, and that's because their parents have taught them to think the same way. And there again, it goes down from generation to generation. You're seeing it now. You're seeing people out doing protests saying Black Lives Matter, peaceful protests. There's some people who are starting riots. Again, there's conspiracy about that, of who's starting the looting, who's actually starting the breaking of the windows and all kind of things. That's all conspiracy. But in every race, it's going to be bad apples. So if there's a peaceful protest going around and there are 5 black people at the protest decide to smash a window, and then opportunists start going in and saying, "Oh, let me have a piece of the pie," you can't single out, you can't magnify the bad action over the rest of hundreds of people that are there to peacefully protest against police brutality. So again, it's just about using your brain, thinking about the situation, thinking about how many people from other races that you've met who are very, very nice. But this is what I feel like the main problem is. And again, I have to talk long on this because I'm passionate about it. When you're seeing people that want to hide and say, this don't exist, you're making it up or you're over-exaggerating. When you get, I don't even know the guy's name. I think it's Tommy Robinson or something like that.
Yeah.
Saying something which he might have changed his delivery, but initially it sounds like he's calling upon a certain type of people to go out and cause violence or to defend themselves or whatever against. I don't see how you can defend yourself against peaceful protests, but you go out there now and you start trying to turn it into a race war, which is definitely not. People have white people in their families. Like everything's so mixed and multicultural now. It's just so stupid. So you get people go against the protest, saying whatever you want to call it, all lives matter, whatever you want to call it. But then they're being violent and they're going against police and they're saying chants like, "We are racist and that's how we like it." That's a problem. But that don't get magnified in the media. And that's people outright saying, "We are racist and that's how we like it." To me, that's as big as a problem as it can get, because they're actually telling you and they're telling the world we're racist and that's how we like it. There's videos of them making monkey noises, just like, sometimes you see it in football, every so often. That for me is the biggest problem.
As a prominent black sports person, figure in your community, what do you see as your role in this?
My role is just to continue to do what I'm doing, be successful, put my family in a position where they're better off, and then again spread the knowledge. And again, I'll spread this knowledge day in, day out, and that's that you can achieve whatever you put your mind to. We live in a society now where there's opportunities, and I always say this to people that there's some black people that are saying, "I'm not doing this Black Lives Matter thing because I was protesting when I got stabbed. I got racially stabbed 20 years ago. I'm over it now. I'm angry. When I got stabbed, no one protested for me, and I'm not supporting the movement." And I say to them, listen, the people before us, yeah, so whoever you want to call it, there's so many names. The people that went through slavery, and went through the whippings, went through the killings, went through the lynchings, went through all these things, they stood their ground and, kept it going. People like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all these legends that done what they did, they done it for change. And things have changed. People say, "Oh yeah, nothing's changed. Things are the same." No, they're not. Just look around you. When you're looking at these movies, it's not fake. It's not fake. When you're seeing a shop that says no dogs, no blacks, no Irish, it's not fake. It's definitely not fake. So we're in a situation that you can walk into a shop, and if someone tells you to get out because they color your skin, they're gonna get arrested, because it's illegal to be racist like that. When you do whatever you want to do, if you get on a bus, you can sit anywhere you want on the bus, pay your money. That's change. You're not, when you walk out on the street, it's so much of a surprise. No, it's not really a surprise, but it's less likely to get attacked randomly walking in Westfields by a group of people because of the colour of your skin. That's changed. Before that was the normal. You know, people couldn't even drive a nice. If you're driving a nice car, you get beaten up and almost killed. There's certain tragedy and realistic things that happen that people turn a blind eye to. I feel like if we all just acknowledge what happened, what's happening, and which I feel like's happening. Again, I can't always stay in the negative. There's been so many people, but again, my heart throbs when I see these kind of things. Is that people actually realizing the situation, and that's black, white people, that's white people. They're actually looking at the situation. They're looking at the killing of George Floyd, and then they're starting to do their own research and look into other situations and say to themselves, there actually is a problem. You know, I can't just be naive because I'm not going through nothing, but there actually is a problem. Why is this always happening? You know, I've seen so many videos where they're just randomly shooting a guy. I haven't seen any videos where they're randomly shooting a white guy like that. Like it don't happen. So what is actually the problem? It has to be racism, you know, or abuse of authority, and that's the problem. So when people are raising awareness of it, and that's every race, you know, there's powerful white people who I feel like are the main people to help create change. People from Amazon, you know, the boss of Amazon, he's supporting the movement. You know, Nickelodeon, things I grew up on, Cartoon Network, all these major people and major companies who have the biggest reach. You know, I have to give up praises to the people who sponsor me, Adidas. They're making some of the biggest changes because they're changing a lot of things in-house as well as outside, to things that public are seeing. But I'm seeing it from the inside. They're changing a lot of things on the inside as well to create equal opportunities, to create the extermination of divide. To me, that's power. And that's creating positive change. Because a world where we all live happily together is the best world, in my opinion.
When you see the backlash in some quarters that has come against Anthony Joshua, who's the most prominent black boxer, one of the most prominent black sportsmen in the country, for being brave enough to kind of stick his head above the parapet, represent his community at a BLM protest event in Watford, does that make you a little bit, not reluctant because you're obviously happy to do it, but does that make you second guess yourself a little bit before you make your views public?
No way, shape or form. No way, shape or form. Muhammad Ali, someone as great as Muhammad Ali, stood for what he stood for. Muhammad Ali was more outspoken than anyone you can ever think of. Muhammad Ali in this society will be called a racist. Because how he used to talk was crazy. But he used to talk with the reality of his time. And in his time, that's how they used to speak because it was so bad and it was so obvious. You know, people didn't hide their racism back then. So Muhammad Ali, the way he's named the greatest for what he stood for. Not only for him in the ring, they say he's the greatest in the ring and greatest at the ring. I'm not saying Anthony Joshua is no Muhammad Ali because he's not. But Joshua said something. He may have said it in a wrong way. He may have worded himself wrong. But again, being at his level, people are going to always they're going to pick out one sentence of what you said and say, and that's what's happened because I haven't seen the whole speech. But I saw what people are upset about. And
does that not concern you then? Because we're doing this video, right? And I'd like to think there's a certain level of trust. But
yes,
any video you do, someone could go away, pick out one sentence you've said, use it as the headline, and the whole story changes.
Yep, exactly. And for me, that's just oh man, that's just life. You know, that is literally just life. And you see that when people walk down the street. Obviously, we're public figures, but someone like Anthony Joshua, someone like myself, any other sports figure or any other person that's an entertainer can do anything and they can get blown out of proportion. You know, they can walk down the street. I don't know, you can use any scenario. I don't really want to put things out in the atmosphere, but things happen all the time. People can just make up something and say, he said this, he did that. It's just low. The people that do that are just low. But everyone saw the speech that he did. And again, I feel like what he did, he may have just worded some things a bit wrong, which would have ticked off of some people. Because there's been this thing in the, the black community for a long time now, and that's saying copy what powerful white people are doing. You know, the powerful, and I'm not talking about everyday citizens. I'm talking about like let's say the Jews, yeah, for example, perfect example. What the Jews do is, if you look, there's a lot of things. The Jewish community, in my opinion, are the most organized. They're the most organized community. And that's nothing that's to do with color. That's to do with what's the word? That's to do. Okay, that's nothing to do with color. That's to do with your culture. And the culture of the Jewish community is to keep their money. So when they have money, they keep it in their own community. And that's how they built wealth. I'm sure the richest and the most wealthiest people in the world are Jewish. So I feel like that's what Joshua meant when he was saying to build up, because all this talk about economics. There's a lot of talk about economics, building the economic system, and black people at the bottom of the economic system, etc. So it's like Joshua's kind of like trying to twist the Jewish rules, should I say, and they kind of keep their money in their own community for as long as they can to get themselves higher in the food chain, to get themselves in a better economic situation. So I feel like that's how Joshua meant it, but the way he said it could have been perceived wrong. He should have gave a very good example, very good explanation of what he meant. Because that's just what society are like. You say one thing, if a girl walks past you and say, "Well, she got a big bum," if a girl walks past you, you say, "Well, she got a nice big bum." The media might twist it and say, "Oh, he's being, yeah, he's shaming a girl with a big bum." They will twist it. So I feel like there was a positive message behind it. But again, there's some people that support him and say, "Well, I'm a white man and I support you. Why would you not support me because I'm a white man?" But again, that's not how I think he meant it, because Joshua, everyone sees it. He has businesses with every different race you can think of. Arabs, people in Dubai, people in Africa, people in England. He's promoted Eddie Hearn. He works very close with Eddie Hearn. So I feel like the racial thing, it was a bit stupid, really, to attack Joshua in terms of race. But again, that's how words can get perceived. But I think I know what he meant. And he didn't mean any bad by it, I don't think.
But the whole backlash he has experienced, that doesn't make you more concerned or more cautious about how you deliver the message?
I'm always cautious about how I deliver messages. Even in this interview, I talk off the top of my head. I don't read from any papers. I just talk from my heart. But again, I'm just lucky enough to be able to explain myself sometimes. I don't go back on my words. And again, I try to explain things to make other people see my point of view. And sometimes that's where, again, my explanations take long sometimes. So I just feel like it's about understanding, man. Everyone in this world needs to put themselves in other people's shoes. There's people in other countries. If you go to, I don't even want to label a country because every country has good and bad, but if you go to the poverty parts of Iraq now, where there's been wars and there's poverty and they're living on rubble, if you go and live that reality for 2 weeks, you'll be very, very privileged at the life you live. And that goes to every base. And another thing I want to put out there, this is another point I want to make. This is not black against white. It's not a race war. It's everyone against racists, because the racist people of this world are bad people. End of story. They're people that suffer a deficiency in their brain. I truly believe this. Anyone that's racist, you suffer. You're suffering from an illness. And the reason I can say that is because it's like having a dog. You got one breed of dog, that's a dog. Yeah. And if you want to narrow it down, you can say a Labrador or a pit bull. You got a pit bull. Pit bulls come in different colors. It's still a pit bull. So it's like, imagine every brown pit bull you saw, you killed or you hung by its neck because it was a pit bull. And there was other pit bulls doing that to the pit bull. How would you look at, listen, whatever, if there's aliens in this world, they must be looking at us like we're stupid. They must be looking at us like, what are you doing? That's the way I see it. It's everybody against racists. It's good versus evil. It's not about color. It's not. You're seeing it in the protests. You're seeing it. It's beautiful. You're seeing it's so multicultural, and that's around the world. It's multicultural in America. I might be even saying that word wrong. Multicultural. In America, it's the same in England. It's mixed because it's good versus bad. There's a good cause against a bad cause. That's just what I feel. I truly believe that.
Just before we let you go, I know you don't want to dwell on the horrible start to the year that you've had, but there will be people out there, fans, that are quite concerned about you and how you're getting on. I've seen a lot of messages of support on social media, including from your next opponent, which is kind of nice in boxing to see
Yes.
something like that. What's your message for people out there who are a bit worried about how you're getting on?
I'm A-OK. I'm very, very fantastic. I'm lucky enough to be a strong individual. That's even how I started boxing. I'm very mentally strong. And it's to some degree it's life. You know, I'm very okay. You know, there's times when I fall down, I allow myself to fall down. There's times when I feel happy, I allow myself to be happy. And that's just what it is, man. You know. But I'm actually okay. There's sometimes where I just feel I've got no energy, I'm just like I'm just upset or whatever you want to call it, but I allow myself to be like that because again, time is a healer. And life shows you that time does heal. If you allow it to. There's some people that go against the forces of healing. You know, it's like if you got a scab and you keep picking at it 24/7, it's going to be harder to heal. And again, in my position, it's harder for me to heal because everyone keeps mentioning it. But at the same time, I'm okay taking on that responsibility because I know that I can help so many other people. And again, that's the role you take on when you take on being an athlete at a high level because you inspire people. Any entertainer, you know, there's people that look up to you. I saw that in the park yesterday. There's certain kids that look everything you say, everything you say, they take in. So again, that's not a responsibility that everyone wants, but it's a responsibility that's just reality. And I always say that in.
Great stuff. Well, really appreciate your time. I look forward to
Yes,
seeing you back, hopefully soon in the Peacock when everyone's allowed in
me
again.
too.
Yeah, exactly. And back in the ring as well soon. It'd be great to watch.
Yes, man. Thank you, man.
All
It's
right.
good to see you as well, man. I hope you've been good. I'll be watching this interview back. I'll be spreading it. And yeah, man, stay safe.
All right, and you. Take care.
Love, bro.